My head was a big lollipop.
Hard Rock.
And this Nerd Minute has been brought to you by the Hard Rock Lunchbox.
Hard Rock.
If we learned anything from the Salem witch trials, it's that all women are guilty.
Hard Rock. Hard Rock.
I love Trevor Noah and most witches.
Hard Rock.
Who am I? Like, seriously, I'm not even Mitch Hedberg.
Hard Rock.
My secret identity was like this hat, right? Like, I'm just like at work like this. It's like, oh, hey, Clark, how you doing? Like, holy shit, when did Superman get here? Like,
Hard Rock Lunchbox.
What is up, everybody? It's time for another edition of the Hard Rock Lunchbox. How is everybody doing today? Me neither. I actually just skipped out of a corporate training meeting. Not for the show. I had this show already scheduled in my calendar. Obviously, I do it every single Thursday, noon to 2, for as long as I can friggin' remember. I will say I've done this show longer than Trevor Noah has done The Daily Show. Trevor Noah's last appearance on The Daily Show is going to be tonight. So be sure to check that out if you're a fan of The Daily Show or Trevor Noah. I thought he was a great replacement for Jon Stewart. Not that you could ever really replace Jon Stewart on that show, but I thought it was as good as it gets. So it'll be interesting to see what they do going forward. I thought it was always very interesting to have somebody with foreign sensibilities host a news show. And if you'll remember, Daily Show really came to prominence because it became actually one of the most trusted names in news, even though it's basically a parody show. It tells you pretty much everything you need to know about cable news networks. So, yes. Yes to all of that. But yeah, I was actually in, now that I work at least most of my time in corporate America, I get to experience some of corporate America. Like, anybody that's ever watched The Office, I guess, kind of has an idea. I had that pencil right here under my neck. It looked like my head was a big lollipop, ladies and gentlemen. Here, only here on the box. But yes, I get to, anybody that's ever seen The Office probably has an idea of how some of these things look. So what I was doing, I was part of it was a diversity education initiative. And because the company I work for is a subsidiary of a huge international company, it's basically one of the things that they have to do in this day and age. And that's fine. Like, in all fairness, it would be completely arrogant of me to just be like, well, I don't need it. Like, of course, everybody thinks that, right? Everybody thinks they don't need that kind of training. And I'm sure there's something to learn in it. I find it funny that we need to have it. I guess that's where I get stuck a lot. Like, the fact that we need to have these discussions. Like, I know I'm going to try and stay off politics as much as possible. Oh, by the way, congratulations, Herschel Walker. Somebody please tell, because I think you'll just believe it. And that'll be funny for me. But not to get particularly political about it, but it's amusing. Amusing is not the right word, but it's close to amusing. Bemusing, foamusing to me, that we have to have these discussions in this day and age. Like, the fact that one of the things I got in my email this morning was that basically the codification of same-sex marriage is either passed the House or, like, I can't believe it's 2022, man. Like, I cannot believe we're still having this issue. Like we're still having this discussion. Like, does anybody really care if gay people get married? I mean, even from the religious aspect of it, I mean, I know you're supposed to go forth and proselytize your religion and stuff like that, and that worked out super well in the Crusades, but, like, it's just, like, do you really care? And even if it's an abomination in the eyes of God, like, is isn't God going to handle that? Like, who are you exactly? Like, seriously, like, unless it goes down like this, like, hey man, I'm DJ from the Hard Rock Lunchbox. Like, yeah, I'm Gabriel, Archangel. Like, unless that's the first thing that comes out of your mouth, I don't understand why you have a leg to kind of stand on. Like, stop telling people how to, like, live their lives. Like, I don't understand why we have to have these discussions. And, you know, that's probably a little bit different than, you know, any sort of diversity education. Because I will say, and I don't think I'm actually allowed to talk about it. I didn't stay for the whole meeting, and I have my personal reasons why. And also I had, like, a work emergency, like, legit, and I had to kind of focus on that. But, like, one of the things the person that was running it was saying is that they had gotten a lot of questions early on about, like, pronouns and pronoun usage. And I have to tell you, I get that one, right? Like, I understand that. Not because it's a difficult concept to understand, but because it's relatively new and fresh, right? Like, it's something that we in our current generation are I want to say dealing with, but, like, experiencing is probably a better word, right? And I've talked about on this show and on other places how, like, I struggle with that. I struggle with pronouns sometimes, and I struggle with them in very specific ways that I've gone into a few times, so I don't really need to rehash it here. So I understand when people have questions, and I feel like that is a really good resource for this. But I gotta tell you, man, the explanation of, you know, some people are different, and you have to, like, respect that some people are different. That sounds like something your parents should have told you right before kindergarten started on the first day. And, you know, I mean, I'll be the first to tell you that most parents are not qualified to be parents. Like, you have to get a license to drive, you know what I mean? Like you have to have working papers to work. Like, there is literally, you know what the test is? Here's what the sex test is. If somebody else, if another person is willing to have sex with you, if their judgment is such that they're willing to have sex with you, like, that's the test. You know, I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure it's a lot harder to be a CPA, right? Probably a lawyer. I hear the MCATs are a real bitch, but having sex, it's like, it's really not all that hard. And I got to tell you, like, you don't even need someone's consent a lot of the times, right? I mean, like, people are still out there raping people, which talk about conversations that we shouldn't need to have. Like, I feel like, okay, I was gonna say Star Trek, but I could definitely see where Kirk might be, like, hauled up before a council to talk about, like, sex stuff he's done with aliens, but, like, Picard? I don't think so. I think we can trust Picard. Although, if you're a big Star Trek fan, especially the Next Generation, I think we can all agree that Deanna Troy's mom, Lwaxana, definitely took some liberties with Jean-Luc, if you know what I mean. And this Nerd Minute has been brought to you by the Hard Rock Lunchbox. Yeah. I had seen that Brittany Griner, they basically freed her, or worked out a deal to free her. And while it's not cool that we still have other Americans sitting in Russian prisons that I guess we're not working so hard to get out, like, the fact that there's pushback on this from people really disgusts me. Like, seriously, like I guess the thought that, like, she deserves to be in a Russian prison for 9 years or whatever, I mean, I suppose we can discuss that, right? Like, she did break the law in Russia, and ignorance of the law, in my opinion, and I think legally, is not an excuse, right? You can't just be like, what's that Dave Chappelle joke? Like, where his white friend is driving and he gets pulled over by a white cop, and his white friend goes like, "I'm sorry, officer, I didn't know you couldn't do that." Like, that's not an excuse. Like, that's not justification for breaking the law. Excuse me while I scratch my left titty here. I'm fat enough now to have titties. By the way, like, something really hurts over here. Sorry, that's for another show. But if anybody's around, just remind me later to look into whatever that is that hurts. Right. Right. So ignorance of the law is not an excuse, and it's not justification. I think the issue really is that I think she would have gotten 9 years unless the Russians were playing a little, hey, I got this one, you want to give me that one? Like, I don't know. That's my takeaway. Again, it's not something that I extensively study. I thought that the response on the right that she somehow isn't worth it because she's a liberal pot smoker is just bananas. Like, an American is being held in a prison abroad. That seems like something that we as an Americans have a State Department for, and that is probably one of their sole jobs. And to wish ill on somebody, like, seriously, wishing ill on somebody because they're a liberal pot smoker, like, what are we doing? Like, what kind of people do we want to be? Like, if you honestly, like, are, like, here and, like, all pot smokers should go to jail, like, and all liberals should go to jail. Like, first of all, we need to have a discussion anyway because this is America. Like, we're allowed to do those things, and, you know, pot has been decriminalized at this point. It's legal in most states, including New York. Like, what discussion are we having, and what message are we sending? I don't like that kind of person. They should go to jail. Like, dude, that's what witch hunts are. Now, granted, I firmly believe that any woman accused of witchcraft is probably guilty of it, but that's only because I believe all women are guilty of witchcraft. I mean, isn't that what... If we learned anything from the Salem witch trials, it's that all women are guilty. And, of course, I'm kidding. To my female/witch audience, I want to humbly apologize on behalf of the Top 20 and the producers here at the Hard Rock Lunchbox. And if this is in any way going to be used as an audition for The Daily Show, I just want to say I love Trevor Noah and most witches, I think. I don't really know what side to come down on the witches. Like, that could be an issue we could discuss, right? Like, are you a Steelers fan, or do you like Dallas Cowboys? Like, what's your take on witchcraft? Like, I don't know. I'm trying to not get myself so worked up, because I'm turning over a new leaf here, people. And I don't know how long this leaf is going to last, but it's worth a shot. Like, trying to not get so upset about the world around me. Like, there's not a lot I can do about it. I kind of believe that using any sort of public platform I have to espouse what I find to be a solid moral compass sort of thing, I think is probably a good idea. Like, I'm a big believer in that kind of stuff. Like, I just am. And I definitely, but I guess it just doesn't work so well when you have sort of the compulsion to, like, fix humanity. Like, first of all, it's not my job. Second of all, like who am I? Like, seriously, like, I'm not even Mitch Hedberg. You know what I mean? Like, one of these days, maybe, I'll run for, like, a political office, and then it will be my job. But until then, I'm just, I'm barely a host of a very mediocre at best radio show and podcast. And it's not so much that I want to, like, stay in my lane or know my role, but, like, I guess it's just not worth it, really, to fight those good fights anymore, because what difference does it make? Like, I feel like explaining things when asked is fine, but, like, I think the constant barrage of bad behavior by my fellow humans just, I don't know, I guess it's just overwhelming at some point. And it's sad and it's stupid and it really doesn't need to be that way, but, like, I'm growing tired of it and tired from it, and it's not gotten any better. I feel like I've been able to explain stuff over the years in a calmer and easier way to understand things, and I feel like I should continue to do that when asked, but I don't know that being unprompted is the way to experience life. So, honestly, don't know how far I'm going to get down that path, because it really just seems to not be my nature, but I don't know. Anyway, so this diversity thing, it was kind of funny, because what was interesting to me is that they were talking about, like, your identities, right? So in this day and age, like, my first thought was, like, you know, obviously gender identities, because that's what's at the forefront. And then, because I'm a complete doofus, my very next thought was secret identity. Because to this very day, I find it so goddamn funny that Clark Kent was, Superman's, like, secret identity, and all he did was wore glasses. Like, I don't have glasses here, but it's like, if my secret identity was like this hat, right? Like, I'm just like at work like this. It's like, oh, hey, Clark, how you doing? Like, holy shit, when did Superman get here? Like, I just, from a very young age, that was always super, super funny to me. And I don't know why that is. But that was my very first thought after gender identity, was secret identity. And I don't think that was at all what they were looking for, but I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. I don't feel like anybody with a secret identity is particularly persecuted in this country, although the Incredibles definitely had a problem, right? Like, they were like sequestered away because people were mad at them in a very Last Airbender, Legend of Korra sort of way, where people without those gifts punished the people with them, which is actually kind of funny because I didn't even mean to do this complete, like, turnaround into that, but doesn't that kind of feel like what's going on now these days, like socially and especially politically, but mainly socially? Like, people without intelligence are punishing people with intelligence because that's not fair that people with intelligence have intelligence. Like, I've been saying for years, man, intelligence is really, it's a function, like, your ability to be intelligent in society is a function of genetics and education. And I guess to some degree, like, personality. Maybe not so much, but I think it's in there, right? Like, because if you're arrogant enough to think, hey man, I know everything there is to know about this already, so I don't need to know anymore. Like, I don't know that I've ever thought that about anything in my entire life. And to be perfectly honest, like, I feel like I know enough about peanut butter, like, that I don't necessarily know that I need to learn any more about peanut butter. But, like, I don't know who's listening today. It could very well be everybody in here is an expert in peanut butter. I know a couple people with peanut butter allergies. I would assume that they are huge experts in peanut butter, but I don't know for sure. But that could be, right? Like, if I know everything already, like, if I know President Obama was definitely a Muslim and born in Africa, if I know that, then maybe I don't need to know that he was actually a Christian and born in Hawaii. Like, maybe I don't need to know. Maybe that's how that works. Right? Like, people without intelligence are mad at like, this is literally what's going on in The Incredibles, right? Like, they had superpowers and they used them for bad or whatever. Or they didn't even use, they made some mistakes and people got hurt or whatever. Like, I don't know. It wasn't quite a Hancock experience. Hancock. I hope Hancock was literally up for discussion because it's so funny and not like, John Hancock, which is also funny. You want to put your John Hancock on this document? No, I really don't. But maybe that's what's going on. Maybe that's what's happening here. And you saw that in Legend of Korra. If you have not watched Legend of Korra, please log off YouTube right now or whatever you're doing and go watch it. Legend of Korra is just a brilliant series in the whole Last Airbender, Legend of Korra, and the Dragon Prince kind of trifecta of brilliance in animation. What was I saying? So, yeah, maybe that's what it is. People without intelligence are mad at people with intelligence because I guess when you don't have it, it's a superpower, right? Like, I can't shoot fire. I can't leap over tall buildings. Dude, I'm so heavy at this point, I can't even leap over, like, small buildings. So I can barely get up the Stairmaster. Right? Like, I don't have that superpower, but what I do have is intellect, and I have a desire to learn things and know things. I was actually just talking about this yesterday about Charlotte. I was asked, like, what her best subject is, and I honestly don't know. But I think she super excels at math, but more importantly than that, this kid doesn't even need to take any more math. She's already in college math, right? She's already at SUNY Genesee, taking math. She's 16. And on top of that, because she wants to, She's taking math at a math academy based out of Boulder. She's taking some of her New Year's, Christmas, holiday break to do an intensive chemistry class. How many 16-year-old girls do you know are spending their time off in January taking intensive chemistry classes? I know one. And honestly, we should probably burn her because she's a witch. Absolutely. 100% a witch. I doubt it. I feel like I've talked enough and said absolutely nothing, so we are definitely on a good look forward for this particular Hard Rock Lunchbox. Thank you for joining me again. Why don't we just get to some music? Day to Remember seems to fit most of my moods, depending on what I feel like wearing. They're just like that closet that has this t-shirt, that polo, this jacket, your favorite socks, your holy underwear, your extra long underwear, your maternity turkey-eating pants, all that kind of stuff. That is a day to remember. A day to remember is my A day to remember is my turkey-eating pants of bands, and I love them for it. And here's today's stretchy stomach.